All right, welcome back to the Master's Tale Variety Hour. My name's John, and I'm with Ashton and Fisher, and we're going to be doing a follow up to our superhero DC video, where we're going to rank these Marvel characters based on power and then look at how they're written. Now, how we're ranking these guys is not based off of comic books, it's based off of their most common depiction to a wide media audience. So Iron Man is going to be Tony Stark from the MCU, not Tony Stark from issue number 97 of something where he punched through a planet. So if you have those comments, you can say, hey, in the comics, he did this. That's great. But we're not doing just them based on the comics. That would be 62 weeks of research and hours of my life I'll never get back. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Some of these will have two listings, and the reason being is that they actually improve pretty dramatically over the course of the movies, which is something we talked about last time, Fisher, about how some of these characters tend to remain stagnant in a way they probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Like Steel and I forget who else exactly. Primarily Steel.
Cyborg, anyone that's mechanical
yeah,
that can
Cyborg.
upgrade, that type of thing. So what I want to start with is we're going to put one in S and one in D just to give us our power levels here. So I'm going to put Captain Marvel in S. She's stronger than Thanos. She's able to tank everything that he throws besides Infinity Stones. She punches through a ship with her face. There's just I don't know of anybody. Well, there's maybe one other character on this list arguably stronger than her. And then I think the weakest or the lowest tier, we're going to put Black Widow. Not that Black Widow's bad, but she's just a regular human with some gadgets. And so these are kind of where the edges of our tier list are going to be. So let's start out with Iron Man from the 2008 Iron Man movie. So this is Iron Man before, like, the Mark III suit, the suit that he fights in the first movie with, baseline Iron Man. Where do we think he falls between these two characters?
I would honestly say B.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
He's
just
exactly
running
in the middle of the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who can lock onto multiple targets. He has the repulsors, he has the basic weapons, but he's not generating light shields and replacing his nanotechnology his glasses into his hand. He's just not doing a lot of the lasers.
On top of that, just on basis of intelligence, he's far beyond most people.
That's very true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm fine with B. I think B is about perfect. So we're gonna skip over later Iron Man and go to Thor. I would put Thor at A. That's where it feels most logical to me.
So my issue. Go ahead.
So I was thinking, if we're putting, do we think movie Thor is just as strong as movie Hulk? Because I don't think that we could put Hulk and Captain Marvel both in the same category. Because I don't know, Captain Marvel's just insane.
Right. I think for me, the reason I would put Thor a rank above Iron Man is that they've and this is starting Iron Man. This is Mark II to like Mark 7 armor.
Yeah,
the reason I would put Thor higher is that he crushes Iron Man's armor with his bare hands. He hits Iron Man with lightning that powers up his suit exponentially to be able to hurt Thor. But I never thought like, oh man, Iron Man's gonna win that fight.
Like no,
Yeah, also he doesn't get the electricity doesn't power his suit up until the third movie, actually. Because in the second movie, Ivan
in the Avengers film.
In the first Avengers, where he hits him with lightning, and then the suit goes, "You're at 1,000% power," and he went, "What do you know?" And then he shoots Thor.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the only time he really damages Thor significantly is like
it was a
boosted.
fluke, basically. It was
Right,
an
right.
unintended side effect. Well, on
Well,
top of that,
no. So that takes place after the second Iron Man, the Avengers,
Yeah,
right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So he designs his suit specifically for that because that's when Ivan was able to uh, discharge his suit. So if you notice, like in the Iron Man movies or any movie that he's in, like every time he has a new suit, it has something designed specifically, like an upgrade. Like he has like a normal shield, but then in one of the movies that normal shield gets broken or something like that. So in the next movie he has like a plasma shield.
So you're
You know?
saying like the Iron Man that would fight and lose to Thor is actually a little bit stronger than the 2008 Iron Man.
I'm saying that the Thor would definitely win against the 2008 Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying
yeah,
too. Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
other
just
thing about Thor is that, as I hate to say dumb, but not as strategically minded as
right.
others, I would say that for the most part, versus an armored individual, but their armor is tinfoil to you,
Hmm.
there isn't really much Thor has to do conceptually, other than I'm going to hit it with a hammer.
right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, there's mental processes that don't need to fire off to fight here.
Yeah.
I think Thor is good. So yeah,
Yeah,
A
now
stands.
right. But I don't think he would like take out Captain Marvel. To me, she's always been written as being
No.
physically stronger than him.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to argue that when he got fat and fought Thanos, he was like significantly weaker to the point that like that's why he did that much worse. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, even that's kind of a it's kind of a stretch. Hulk. I think Hulk, like you said, is about where Thor is. I think he's A.
Yeah. Yeah. I
At the
think
start, yeah, A.
Because I mean, I'm thinking like Iron Man has to suit up in the Hulkbuster armor and outright beats him in the Hulkbuster armor. I don't think he would beat Captain Marvel in the Hulkbuster armor. I don't see that happening.
Mhm.
Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye.
I
I would
think
say D. I say he's
yeah,
D.
about
that's
where
another
Thor
Oh,
D.
was.
100% D.
Yeah, I say that. He's
He's
just badly written too, I think.
well, regardless of how he's written, he's a very unimpressive character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Black
mean,
Widow, and I've said this in the last video, but there are some iterations of Avengers in which they don't show up at all. Those two, instead, for example, there's the cartoon where it's the Wasp and Ant-Man.
right.
Or I forget, there's another iteration with two other characters. So those last two slots are weirdly interchangeable.
Right.
But in this one, specifically with these two, Black Widow and Hawkeye, they do their work very well on a smaller scale. Unfortunately, it was large scale the second they stepped on the screen.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, they've always been kind of fish out of water. It's interesting to me if they had been introduced in a Daredevil style Netflix show before coming to the movies,
Yeah.
if they would have a bunch more fans, you know.
Probably. Because Daredevil's amazing because he tackles street level crime.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
Captain
kind of.
America. Captain America's interesting to me. Because he is not consistently written as far as strength or speed or I mean there are times that it's like this doesn't even seem like the same character.
Yeah. So my issue with Captain America, specifically in these films and how it's publicly perceived, he's always as strong or as weak as the writers want him to be at the time.
Hmm.
Right.
So he can, he's the strongest human at at
He's
certain
not
points,
D.
but otherwise
He's
he's
not
not
D.
no,
Yeah.
he's definitely not D. I would put him in B because he's done some amazing things, but then he nearly loses to himself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like
He's
I
also like without Bucky, he outright loses to Iron Man. If Iron Man was trying to kill him, he'd kill him. So I would say either C or like B minus. Like if there was like he's the very bottom of
Yeah.
like I don't see him winning against all the people in B, but like he could hurt them. You know what I mean? It's not like go ahead.
The funny thing about Captain America is that versus Iron Man, what makes Iron Man an interesting hero long term is that, like Ashton said, he upgrades, he changes, he grows. Captain America can only really get technology. Like, oh, I'll use my shield a different way. I'll use a different strategy, or I'll get a different shield, or that sort of thing. He doesn't get any stronger.
Kills people with guns. I mean, so he's
like the fact he doesn't even use that in modern day is kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
But probably C. People are going to be mad, but C. He just doesn't do anything. Definitely. Now, I will say he's very much more impressive in a lot of other things, but in this, he's okay.
He's useful, and I think part of the charm of him is that he is not the strongest hero, but he faces down the biggest villains. Like it's cool to see him get Thor's hammer and be powerful for a minute because he's scrappy and strong, and like gives it his best type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead because this is Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange Beginning. Before, like, when he just has the time stone and a bunch of his, like from his first movie, because I think he changes dramatically over the course of the films. I have no idea where to put him. I mean, he's like, I don't feel like physically, like, I feel like he could get sucker punched and knocked out, which he has. Like, he's been knocked out against like Ebony Maw and some of these other characters. But then on the flip side, he can open portals to anywhere.
He's the Sorcerer Supreme. It's kind of, he's the penultimate squishy wizard.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem with this is that he's a terrible squishy wizard at the start.
Yeah, at the beginning, kind of.
I don't know. And then there's so much basis with his stuff in like martial arts for some reason, and he's just never had like any good, like, he goes to these like kind of Tibetan monasteries.
Yeah.
And it's like, but he's never been like a significant hand-to-hand fighter in like a meaningful way. I mean, I'm tempted at like C. I don't think he's that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like
at the start, he does not do very much. It's been a hot minute since I've seen the film, but the whole film is the basis of him growing into and making mistakes.
Yeah, trying to get to that point. Yeah, because at the end of the first movie, the way he beats the bad guy is just like an infinite loop until the bad guy gets aggravated and leaves.
Yeah, like the whole point of the film
bad guy rage quits and leaves.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole point of the film is to show I'm not impressive yet, but I have the most potential for growth because of the people who came before me. So he's upgrading himself in a different way than Iron Man. He's upgrading himself magically. He's got the most long-term growth potential.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see Spider-Man end as well, so we're gonna skip over him. Deadpool. Deadpool is a meme character. He's functionally unkillable. He's been ripped in half. He's had his legs chopped off. He's broken every bone in his body.
Even that bone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he's just I mean, and it hints that in X-Men Wolverine, or in Deadpool and Wolverine, that he could be killed by disintegration.
Okay.
I've never seen him do anything. He's always fighting like normal dudes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he's a mercenary,
like, right?
He's hired to fight. Kind of baseline. I would put him in C, honestly.
Yeah.
Because as impressive as I can heal from anything is, and he's a strong character. But get about maybe 3 guys with machine guns.
Yeah, just to constantly mow him down as he regenerates.
I'm not exactly seeing all that much. And again, he's not a weak character. It's just that he doesn't really do all that much.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in the movies.
So starting
Yeah, specifically in the
Spider-Man.
movies.
Yeah, right. In the movies, in the wider continuity, he's like killed the whole Marvel universe or something silly.
Yeah.
But in
He's
the
actually
Go
in
ahead.
the comics he's been completely disintegrated and come back because he is Lady Death is in love with him in the comics.
Oh yeah, okay,
But
that's a
she
neat little plot
yeah,
line. I forgot.
but she can't have him
Mm,
because Thanos is in love with Lady Death. And that's why Thanos can't die in the comics. Is because
mm,
if he dies, then he can get to Lady Death and he's gonna kill her for not being in love with him.
mm.
And then
So it's just a big purple
she's in
symbol.
love with Deadpool, but she can't have him
All right.
because of his mutation.
It's like Dawson's Creek on a cosmic level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Spider-Man starting out versus like Spider-Man that shows up in Civil War. I would say C.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
he's okay. So the issues with this Spider-Man versus the other Spider-Man in the films, the Spider-Man in the comics, Spider-Man in the cartoons,
He's like
take
15.
your pick. He's 15, 16, somewhere around there. He's, I don't want to say not as intelligent as the other Parkers, but they just don't, he doesn't do as much as the other Peter Parkers to start out with, in my mind. Like he fights he fights Vulture and loses. Like pretty
Well,
consistently.
I
But
don't
again,
know. I think he also
he's young.
fights. Yeah.
And
Before
that's kind of the point. Is like he's the young one on stage. He's not good yet. He has a lot of growth potential, but at this stage, he's kind of not very impressive.
And his writing before this movie and then during the first movie, it's not it's not very linear either. Just like Captain America, because like he goes toe to toe with Bucky and the Falcon, and like
Yeah.
he's able to like keep them away and stuff like that. And then this guy with robot wings comes and he's not able to do much about him.
Well, and even in that Civil War fight, Captain America traps him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Captain America's on par with Bucky, but Spider-Man
Yeah.
can beat Bucky and Falcon, but Captain America could beat Spider-Man. And it's like, what is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah,
Like,
what's going on?
but it's just lack of experience. I mean, I feel like that
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I mean, he was holding up, what looked like the back of like an 18-wheeler, some
Yeah.
large transportation thing. He was holding it up with his bare hands. I mean, he's super powerful. It's just
Oh yeah. He's
Yeah.
very strong. The
He's
thing
just
that
not sure what to
elevates
do
him
with it
later,
yet.
I guess the problem with this movie specifically, or well, not. How about this? At the start, he is not really doing very much for himself as far as improving. He's just kind of like mapping himself out as far as, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? It's only later on that he starts improving, but I have some issues with his improvement, but we'll discuss that later.
okay. So this next one is Ant-Man at the end. So we'll go with Wasp. I don't feel like Wasp is anywhere above D tier in any of the showings that she has in the films.
I haven't really seen anything from her, to be honest.
She
What was
punches
she
guys.
even in?
She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp and then Quantum Mania.
Yeah, I didn't see either one of those.
I'm gonna
Well,
be honest with you. I
not.
didn't see Quantum Mania, and so if she's like, S tier in Quantum Mania and like has heat saws through like planets or something, let me know. But she's just always seemed like discount Ant-Man with wings,
Like she's,
which is sad because the comics version is pretty cool. It's
heck,
just
the show version's cool. Like she's been able to do a lot more in a lot of different properties, but in this one, she just kind of got relegated, which is unfortunate.
yeah. Okay, next one is Moon Knight. So I've watched the Moon Knight show, and I am not 100% sure what his powers are after watching the show.
So he's
I'm just gonna be honest. Because he
yeah,
fights dudes and then he fights other you know, people that are like
he's
him and
yeah.
y-
So he's like his suit comes from the powers of Khonshu.
right.
So he's like the chosen warrior for that
He's a
Egyptian
very
god.
physical warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the suit is what gives him the powers.
I guess I just never got a good sense of
What level he's at?
right,
Is,
if this
yeah.
Yeah,
dude
yeah,
could he catch a punch from Spider-Man? I don't know. He just always seemed like
yeah.
peak human to me.
Mhm.
As strong as he never seemed like superhuman in a way that was
Right.
you
Yeah,
know, that I
I
felt like
feel
he
like,
would go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I feel like in the show he can definitely like die from like a gunshot or something. That's how I feel. But
Yeah. So I
he
guess
does have
D.
like kind of a healing factor, but just like nothing crazy like Wolverine or Deadpool. Just like he's got to sit it out for a day or two.
I guess if he got in a fist fight with Steve Rogers, I feel like he'd lose.
Yeah.
Pretty horrendously. I don't feel like it would
Now,
be.
the whole
Well,
connected
I
to a
don't.
divine thing might even the odds.
Yeah, because again, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know. What are y'all thinking? C or D?
Yeah,
I'm either
probably is.
thinking
I'm
D
thinking
or low C.
because
So probably
he
just D.
might not be as strong. Yeah, he definitely doesn't show any kind of supernatural powers or anything like that.
And even again, as much as he's not very strong or he's strong or what he's done or he's not done. This is about what have they been shown to do.
Yeah,
And if John can watch the whole show and go, okay, I'm not quite sure where to put him. They clearly haven't shown him doing very much.
Well, right. I
yeah,
don't remember any scene where he's I ripped the door off a car and threw it through a building or something. Where you were just oh yeah,
right.
he's definitely got in canon super strength.
Okay, so he can do that, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
There's nothing like that.
And it really wasn't that kind of show anyway, but at the
Right.
same time, it wasn't a good metric to then connect it to the MCU and go, okay, well, how does he stack up? It's like, well,
Well, he's also fighting mercenaries and not struggling, but it seems
hmm
the alter ego has to actually get hand to hand with these dudes. And I feel like if he was Captain America runs through a boat and just beats 30 dudes. He front kicks a guy who flies 30 feet off a boat. I don't know. I mean, I'd say
yeah,
D. I say D. That's where I
yeah,
want to put him. But if you
I,
yeah.
want to
I'd
put him
That's
honestly
higher,
say he's Marvel's Batman with a god attached.
yeah, yeah. It's
okay, and this is going to be weird because of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that says they're kind of equal, but I actually think Wolverine's B because of the adamantium claws. I feel like that makes him way stronger than Deadpool.
If he doesn't have that, yeah, C. But if he does have that, because he has lost them canonically in the films.
Right. I'm just
I
thinking
don't.
if we're talking about peak Wolverine from the X-Men
Yeah, peak
franchises,
Wolverine. Yeah, no, B.
B. Yeah, not C. I feel like he's because I feel like if he were to fight these other guys, except for Deadpool, who ironically has a hard counter to him, because Wolverine's been shot in the head in his stories and recovered.
whoa.
I mean, within 3 minutes, or within 3
Wolverine
seconds.
survived a nuclear bomb in the films.
Oh yeah.
I I don't remember. I might be blending together a lot of the MCU
'Cause
versus the Fox films,
Well,
but I do
canonically, it's
recall.
the same. Well, not the Deadpool and Wolverine, but the Fox films are canon, all of them. So him fighting the Phoenix and being able to walk through her destruction is a feat. I mean, basically every time Wolverine loses, it's either it's some BS or it's somebody who how many times has Magneto, because he can control metal, beaten Wolverine?
Yeah,
And it's
that's an
just
old trope. Well, a
right.
bigger thing with Wolverine in the films is that the comics now all of these films are based off of comics, roughly. Some of them are more original stories, but mostly from comics. So when they look at Wolverine and they go, okay, well, how strong is he? Well, they've got literally no way to tell how strong he is healing factor wise. Well, how strong is he? Well, it takes about a day for him to regenerate. Well, actually, he can regenerate from a skin cell. Like what?
There's not consistent.
There's no in between. You can't. It really depends on how the writer decides to write him in the current metric, and that's kind of why he falls into B more often than C, because people go, "Oh, he's the dude with the healing factor, so it must be really strong."
Yeah, he can be lit on fire, blown up with grenades, or all that stuff, and he's fine. That type. I mean, he's fought the Hulk and has a famous story where he fights the Hulk.
Well, on top of that, it's not played as a gag versus Deadpool. When Deadpool gets shot, it's like, oh, I got shot. I'm going to make a joke about it.
Yeah, and then, if Deadpool would fight Hulk, that would be like, he'd have no chance. As the, Wolverine, I feel like Wolverine would put up, in the MCU, would put up a pretty good fight.
Mean, I would look at Deadpool's performance versus Juggernaut, and I think that's a pretty good 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on top of that, if we're looking really close here, the funny thing is that Deadpool and Wolverine within these films, within the specifically, Deadpool and Wolverine, they fit well within the movie because the movie was built around them. Whenever you get, okay, well, this is Wolverine versus these other characters in these other films, Deadpool versus these other characters in these other films, you have to kind of look at what the writers want in those films. Who do they want to win within those films?
Right.
And more often than not, Deadpool's going to lose or get hurt for a joke because he's the comic relief unless he's the protagonist. And even then, when he is the protagonist, he gets shot and hurt. Wolverine is more often the protagonist and one of the strongest mutants. So him losing is like unless it's like, okay, well, this is the next generation or whatnot. So they have to be stronger than Wolverine. But in this current, like, if we're looking at how often does Wolverine win versus lose, and why would he win and lose in a look at where's the writer's room looking at this?
Yeah. And most people want Wolverine to win.
Yes, exactly.
They want the scrappy, rough guy to beat things through gritting his teeth and fighting.
Allah's name, Wolverine.
Okay, so next we have Scarlet Witch. First time she shows up in Age of Ultron, and I'm gonna be honest, I think this is the character with the most improvement. But like looking at feats, she can mess with their minds. She could slow down a train, but couldn't stop it, which is actually kind of low power. Like she had to struggle to slow it down.
Yeah.
She gets taken out by Hawkeye, with a taser. I'm going to be honest, and I know this sounds weird because Scarlet Witch is, as the films go forward, is stronger than Thanos and all of that. But at the start, as I guess she's like a late teenager, I'd put her in C. I don't see anything when she first shows up that indicates to me that she wouldn't get just curb stomped by a lot of the stronger heroes. Not that she's bad.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay. In a few pieces of media, Doctor Strange mentors her. So why I'm bringing that up is comparing them at the start. Doctor Strange is a literal doctor with a degree. He's not unintelligent.
Right.
She's a teenager with, I don't even remember what her accolades are. Did she even graduate high school? I don't even know.
I mean, she's
I think her and her brother in the movies were raised as slaves or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. She has no practical experience.
Yeah.
So I would actually low C or D. Because she's got a lot of power. But Doctor Strange, the whole point of Doctor Strange is I can use this magic intelligently because I'm an intelligent adult with enough experience to kind of figure it out, even if I'm not doing so well. She's
so
a kid.
But also,
yeah,
she's a
go.
mutant, and she's had her powers since she was,
Yeah,
since
but
she
with
was
no
born.
ability to actually use them.
Well, she's been using them up until this point, so that's why I'm agreeing with John in the C category, because I feel like she
Yeah.
would have
So the
a fair enough grasp on her powers to equal up to Strange right when he gets his.
Right. Yeah. As far as raw power goes, I mean, she's able to rip out Ultron's heart through his vibranium armor. Like she's she's so bad. Like because again, yeah, Hawkeye tasers her, and that's not to say that somebody in D could never beat someone in C. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think in a million years, if Hawkeye hit Captain America with the right trick arrow, he couldn't win. It's just that she sneaks up on Hawkeye and he beats her, and it's like yikes.
Yeah,
That's a rough anti feat, for your
yeah,
power.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put C here, but I could see the argument for D. I just think stopping a train and ripping Ultron's heart out makes her
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
strong enough that she's a threat. Ant-Man. I say D. I mean, I don't see anything from him that's so crazy.
Yeah, no. I
You know,
mean, in the first movie, all he fights really is somebody with a suit similar to his.
right? Okay. And this
Even
is
in
for the
both
memes,
Ant-Man, hold on, even in both Ant-Man films, he didn't really do very much.
I can't
right?
speak on this. I didn't see the second one, so I don't know.
The
The
only
second one's
reason
good.
I have to put a different one is because in Civil War he can turn giant, and I think that puts him in a different category.
He actually turns giant in the second film. He just
Right.
walks around in a bay for a little bit.
Nice. What a great use of that power. No, so and this is for the memes, but it's here. Topher Grace's Venom. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, C, B,
Yeah,
somewhere in there, maybe.
I don't know. He is super strong, and technically, it's not Eddie Brock that's being controlled. I mean, Eddie Brock it is being controlled, so it's not really Eddie Brock.
This
It's
is
more the symbiote than anything.
so. This is what I'll say about these films. Is
Can I
I
say real quick
yeah,
that
go ahead.
in in this movie he prays to God and asks God to kill Peter Parker?
And then gets Venom immediately,
Yeah.
like from his worldview, like God is like, sure, like Jesus calls that a hit on Spider-Man.
That blew me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So the only reason I would actually put him in B, and I know that sounds insane, is that I actually feel like Spider-Man from the Tobey Maguire movies has a
Mhm.
bunch of absurd strength feats.
Yeah,
Like
no.
Yeah.
like the fact that this dude can outright overpower him, and like he stops a train with like constipation and like pure willpower.
Yeah.
He when Doc Ock has that sun thing sucking everything in, there's like a whole like factory wall that falls on him and he just catches it. And I was like, man, this dude's ridiculous. I mean, this guy's got to be like, this dude's
Well,
never
again,
skipped shoulder day since he was 3 years old. Like, what's going on?
the movie's called Spider-Man. This was probably the very first time. Well, it wasn't the first time Spider-Man has been on screen, but he's certainly, this was the one that was seen by the mainstream media, the mainstream audience. So people latched onto it and they're like, well, yeah, we're going to throw out, yeah, it's his film. Of course he's going to do some cool stuff. His villains are going to be
Yeah.
stronger.
And this was
I
one of
mean,
the first times that a live action superhero movie kind of came anywhere close to like a comic book adaptation.
Yep.
yeah, he also just outright kills the Hobgoblin. I mean, I know it's strange to be like he could fight Iron Man, but like he probably could in like a disturbing way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe B. Okay. So we're gonna go to all the later upgrades, but so we'll go ahead to Daredevil. I think Daredevil's D. I
Yeah.
mean,
Daredevil is D, but the best D.
right. He
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
beat anyone here in my
Yeah.
mind.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe Moon Knight. I don't know. Depending on if Moon Knight does have like some crazy secret powers.
Yeah.
I would say they're probably on the same level.
Yeah.
Not
Maybe. I don't know. Daredevil might be.
Daredevil's a little stronger just by
I think just
practical
because
experience.
we're never gonna find out. I don't think we'll ever find out anything more about Moon Knight. I don't think they're ever gonna make anything
Probably
within the
not, and
game.
that's sad because his
Yeah, I
concept's
know. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then Venom, modern Venom, I think is the same. I think it's B. He's kind of magic. He can
Mhm.
also put the symbiote on other things. He can like
Yeah.
use just parts of the symbiote, which I think is
Mhm.
a super fun concept. Like he's driving a motorcycle and using the symbiote to like turn him and stuff. He's got range. I think that's the thing with oh gosh, what's it, Tom Hardy's Venom is
Mhm.
that I don't feel like he's as strong as the Spider-Man 3 Venom, but the fact that he can just like has a 20-foot reach with that like goo is
Oh yeah.
pretty wild.
he's
And he
more strategic.
and he can eat people. Like that's a disturbing like
He
like I don't know.
does eat people. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
so why I would compare and contrast these two characters and these two depictions? Again, you have to look at what were they aiming for these characters to do. The Venom in Spider-Man 3 was meant to be the big showstopper. The
Yeah.
Venom in the Venom movies are meant to be the protagonist. Meant to
Yeah.
do a good job of showing I'm the good guy, ish.
Right.
Right.
And like, so of course they're going to have different feats ascribed to them, different things that they're able to do, different things that they do in the film, different things they're allowed to do. But ultimately come out pretty even.
Right. Okay, and then Black Panther. I would say that Black Panther is is so hard to pin down. To me, it's between A and B because he's super strong. He's like comparable to Captain America, but his whole body is covered in vibranium and can reverse kinetic energy onto his attackers, which is wild. I mean, that's a dumb power.
Yeah, that I don't know how you'd beat that unless you just shoot him with something that isn't kinetic. Like that's like I don't know.
Like
Like
he's
that's
been knocked out somehow, which doesn't really make sense to me. But on the flip side, he's got certain opponents that are so much stronger than him that I'm like,
Yeah. I wouldn't put him higher than B. I don't think.
yeah, B.
B. I'm fine
Yeah.
with B. It's just how broken the dumb, but like
Yeah.
vibrate so silly that it's like if like Captain Marvel punched him, but he absorbed it all and punched her back and killed her. It's like, oh my gosh, like could it be possible? I don't know.
Right.
On top of that, he's not stupid. Like he's not just some dumb bruiser a la Thor. No offense, Thor, but like so he does have his intelligence behind him as well.
Yeah, so Iron Man. So Iron Man by the end, by Endgame, I he does not seem to be S tier to me, but I think he could beat everyone in A tier. And this is my reasoning. One, this is Tony Stark as a character, so it's not a specific armor. So you've got
Hmm.
Tony Stark Hulkbuster, you've got Tony Stark with all the nanotechnology. He canonically beats Hulk. I mean, I think that he
Hmm.
would beat Thor too. It would be a good fight, but I think he'd win. Like if he
Yeah.
showed up in the Hulkbuster, I think he'd kill Thor.
I think
Um,
he's like similar to Batman, to where he has a solution for everyone on the team. You know.
right. So I
Probably,
would
if given enough time and effort, he could maybe beat Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Maybe.
would
That's
come
a
up with some way to do it. But
yeah,
Hmm.
as we see him in the movies, I think he's the highest A tier, but I don't think
yeah.
he's S.
I would agree.
No, not S, but yeah, A for sure.
Doctor Strange, I think, is somewhere similar. I think he
Yeah,
performs
he's.
very well against Thanos.
Hmm.
He he's just so squishy. Like he gets knocked out by Ebony Maw, and it's like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know if y'all want to put him all the way up in A tier. I guess what y'all are thinking.
Like he does enough in those films to make it to A, which is a marked improvement. He jumped 2 tiers. That's very impressive.
Yeah, I think so too, because he's pretty much mastered the Mind Stone by now, and you know, he's learned a lot more spells and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay, so then Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man moves up to B, but not A.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
agree with that. Yep.
Like he's significantly stronger throughout the movies.
Heck, he fights Venom in most comic adaptations. So the fact that he can beat him later on, I mean, yeah.
Giant Man, I would say Giant Man's around B as well. He's significantly stronger. I don't know, C or B for the giant version of Ant-Man. He's 60 feet tall and can break a
plane. I can't speak on this because I have no idea.
All right, so
well, like Civil War, he was in Civil War. That's kind of the
thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that was very much.
Here's my issue with this character and Spider-Man before. So, Ant-Man uses technology, but he has an absolutely massive weakness when he's in giant form. He gets sleepy super quick. He gets exhausted, like within seconds.
So
I think he's like, he's just he can do a lot. He's super strong. He can smack the Hulk around for like a minute, half a minute. So it's not really all that impressive if you look at it. Now the problem I have is Spider-Man versus Ant-Man. And I'm not talking about them fighting. I'm talking about them technology-wise. Spider-Man, in most kind of comic adaptations, makes his own suit, does his own thing, sometimes connects to not usually Tony Stark, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But, you know, other characters that are smarter than him, and he learns from them and he adapts. In these, he's not doing the same thing, and that's fine. Different interpretations of the character.
Well, but in No Way Home, there's a lot of science Peter going on that I like a lot.
And that's good.
Yeah.
That he finally gets there, but like even in that image right there, he's wearing the Iron Spider suit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really like that was a boost to his power, sure, but it's not by his own merit, and that annoys me a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, great, and like he gets it taken away, and it's like, yeah, because Spider-Man is the whole thing is Spider-Man can beat somebody in his spandex suit. That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, in a weird way too, and we're gonna get to the replacement characters, but in a weird way, it's almost like he's the replacement Iron Man, not Ironheart. It's almost like he is the spiritual successor to Iron Man, and he's Iron Man's sidekick. And if you were gonna make an Iron Man sidekick, I would do exactly what you did with the Spider-Man movies. I would have you have his own film, but have Iron Man feature prominently, and then him take over from there, but have the glasses that are from Iron Man after he passes. So you have Iron Man as part of the film for the first time. And so we're going to talk about that a lot later on, because I think that they actually made a perfect sidekick movie that I think would work excellent as a model for Robin or any of these other characters, but just was not Iron Man's sidekick. But anyway, Scarlet Witch S tier. I'm not even getting an argument. She's a god. I mean, she's terrifying.
Yeah, she's just like ripping through realities, like however she wants, and
she beats the Illuminati.
Like,
yeah.
She's very broken, and she's very broken